Hello everybody, Aussie Cool One here, and today I'm here to do a reaction horror film, whatever. I just don't have my head at the right space at the moment. Now you might be wondering, you might have a question. For how long, where the heck have I been? And why am I in a new place? And how come I grow this ugly beard? Well, mostly, it's just that I didn't have that much time to myself, and basically personal problems as well, especially with my family and all. But we don't have to get into that. And also I've moved into a new place. So yeah. Well, I'm at a relative's place, but I live downstairs. But yeah, I am gonna be quiet, and I am gonna continue doing this this thing. So yeah. Later on the track, I might be doing some other gameplay videos, or might continue the freaking Minecraft Dwellers mod with my other mates, KKKKK, and Yeetman, of course. And hopefully, possibly, another mate named, what was his name again? Slick Dude 2? But yeah. So, I got this video I want to see, this one, reaction one. And it's one of my, he's a good, like, source filmmaker guy. Yeah. Subscribe to him, Serky. He's also good. So, this is, I don't know what this is. I don't know if I actually watched it or not, but it's gonna be a new experience kind of thing. So let's hop right to it. Just put this in here. Oh, that's a cool title card. Narrated by Mr. Creepypasta.
I wasn't sure where else to post these stories, so I figured I'd share them here. See, I've been a search and rescue officer for a few years now, and along the way I've seen some things that I think you guys would be interested in. I have a pretty good track record for finding missing people. Most of the time they just wander off the path or slip down a small cliff, and they can't find their way back. The majority of them have heard the old saying, "Stay where you are," and they don't wander off. But I've had two cases where that didn't happen. Both bother me a lot, and I use them as motivation to search even harder on the missing persons cases that I get called in on. The first was a little boy. He was out berry picking with his parents. He and his little sister were together, and both of them went missing around the same time. Their parents lost sight of them for a few seconds, and in that time, both the kids apparently wandered off. When their parents couldn't find them, they called us, and we came out to search the area. We found the daughter pretty quickly, and when we asked where her brother was, she told us that he'd been taken away by the Bear Man. She said he gave her berries and told her to stay quiet, that he wanted to play with her brother for a while.
Right.
The last she saw of her brother, he was riding on the shoulders of the Bear Man and seemed calm. Of course, our first thought was abduction, but we never found a trace of another human being in that area. The little girl was also insistent that he wasn't a normal man, but he was tall and covered in hair like a bear, and that he had a weird face.
Imagine it's a guy wearing a freaking Bigfoot suit. Maybe that's how they got the inspiration of being the freaking Bear Man. I don't know if it's like somebody wearing a Bigfoot suit, but without like the ugly face. It's just like a werewolf mask. I have no idea. It just comes across into my mind.
We searched the area for weeks. It was one of the longest calls I've ever been on. But we never found a single trace of that kid. The other was a young woman who was out hiking with her mom and grandpa. According to her mother, her daughter had climbed up a tree to get a better view of the forest, and she'd never come back down. They waited by the base of the tree for hours, calling her name, before they called for help, and again we searched everywhere. We never found a trace of her.
Yeah.
I have no idea where she could have possibly gone, because neither her mother or grandpa ever saw her come down. A few times I've been out on my own searching with the canine. They've tried to lead me straight up cliffs, not hills, not even rock faces, straight sheer cliffs, with no possible handholds. It's always baffling. And in those cases, we usually find the person on the other side of the cliff, or miles away from where the canine led us. I'm sure there's an explanation, but it's sort of strange. One particularly sad case involved the recovery of a body. A 9-year-old girl fell down an embankment and got impaled on a dead tree at the base. It was a complete freak accident, but I'll never forget the sound her mother made when we told her what had happened. She saw the body bag being loaded into the ambulance, and she let out the most haunting, heartbreaking wail I've ever heard. It was like her whole life was crashing down around her, and a part of her died with her daughter.
Dramatic.
I heard from another search and rescue officer that she killed herself a few weeks after it happened. She couldn't live with the loss of her daughter.
I really hope this isn't based on a true
I was teamed up with
story.
another search and rescue officer because we'd received reports of bears in the area. We were looking for a guy who hadn't come home from a climbing trip when he was supposed to, and we ended up having to do some serious climbing to get where we figured he'd be. We found him trapped in a small crevice with a broken leg. It wasn't pleasant. He'd been there for almost 2 days, and his leg was very obviously infected. We were able to get him into a chopper, and I heard from one of the EMTs that the guy was absolutely inconsolable. He kept talking about how he'd been doing fine.
Don't worry, my leg is infected, but I'm fine.
A man had been there.
Is it the bear
He said
man?
the guy had no climbing equipment. He was wearing a parka and ski pants. He walked up to the guy, and when the guy turned around, he said he had no face. It was just blank. He freaked out and ended up trying to get off the mountain too fast, which was why he had fallen. He said he could hear the guy all night, climbing down the mountain and letting out these horrible muffled screams. This story bothered the hell out of me. I'm glad I wasn't there to hear it. One of the scariest things I've ever had happen to me involved the search for a young woman who'd gotten separated from her hiking group. We were out late at night because the dogs had picked up her scent. When we found her, she was curling up under a large rotted log. She didn't have any injuries, and we were able to get her to walk with us back to the base ops. Along the way, she kept looking behind us and asking us why that big man with black eyes was following us. We couldn't see anyone. We just wrote it off as some weird symptom of shock, but the closer we got to base, the more agitated the woman got. She kept asking me to tell him to stop making faces at her. At one point, she stopped and turned around and started yelling into the forest, saying that she wanted him to leave her alone. She wasn't going to go with him, she said, and she wouldn't give us to him. We finally got her to keep moving, but we started hearing these weird noises coming from all around us. It was almost like coughing, but more rhythmic and deep. It was almost insect-like. I don't really know how else to describe it. When we were within sight of base ops, the woman turns to me. Her eyes are about as wide as I can imagine a human could possibly open them. She touches my shoulder and says, "He says to tell you to speed up. He doesn't like looking at the scar on your neck." I have a very small scar on the base of my neck, but it's mostly hidden under my collar. I have no idea how this woman saw it. Right after she says it, I hear that weird coughing right next to my ear, and I just about jump out of my skin. I hustle her to ops, trying not to show how freaked out I was, but I have to say, I was really happy when we left the area that night. This is the last one I'll tell. That's probably the weirdest story I have. No, I don't know if it's true in every search and rescue unit, but in mine, it's sort of an unspoken regular thing we run into. You can try asking about it with other search and rescue officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it to our superiors, and at this point we've all gotten so used to it that it doesn't even seem weird anymore. On just about every case where we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking about like 30 or 40 miles, at some point we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like if you took the stairs in your house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some. The other officer just told me not to worry about it, that it was normal. Everyone I asked said the same thing. I wanted to go check them out, but I was told very emphatically that I should never go near any of them. I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them because they happen so frequently.
Wow, that is absolutely insane and disturbing at the same time. Okay, so I wasn't understanding the thing because when I usually watch Cirky's videos, it's just like a one video with just one big storyline that I don't know which website it was. It did had Mr. Creepypasta narration there. But that's pretty cool. This is a new one. Is this a new one? My friend told me to kill. Well, I should say that, but you haven't knocked on my door. I think that's a new one.
There's been an overwhelming amount of people mentioning the similarity between some of my stories and those of David Pauld's. I assure you, I'm not trying to rip him off in any way. I've got nothing but respect for the guy. He's actually what inspired me to write this because I can verify a lot of these things he talks about. We do have a lot of these strange missing persons cases, and most of the time, they aren't solved. Either that or we find them in places they have no business being. I personally haven't been on many calls like that, but I'll share a few that I've seen and a story my friend told me that relates to this. There was a lot of feedback about the stairs, so I'll touch on that briefly here, and I'll also include a story. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, styles, and conditions. Some are pretty dilapidated, just ruins, but others are brand new. I saw one set that looked like they came from a lighthouse. They were metal and spiral, almost old-fashioned. The stairs don't go up infinitely or farther than I can see, but some sets are taller than others. Like I said before, just imagine the stairs in your home as if someone had cut and pasted them in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any pictures. It's never really occurred to me to try after the first time. And I don't really feel like risking my job over it. I'll try again in the future, but I can't really promise anything.
No,
A few people expressed confusion about the guy who ran into the man with no face. And just to clarify, when the climber ascended and reached the top of the peak, he saw another man in a parka and ski pants. This was the man with no face. Sorry about any kind of confusion with the wording of that story. Try to avoid that in the future. As far as missing persons go, I'd say that about half the calls I get are related to that. The other are rescue calls. People who fall off cliffs, hurt themselves, get injured by fire. You wouldn't believe how often that happens, mostly drunk kids. Getting bitten or stung by animals or insects. We're a tight team. We have veterans who are excellent at finding signs of lost people. That's what makes these cases where we never find any trace of them so frustrating. One in particular was upsetting for all of us, because we did find a trace of them, but it just led to more questions than answers. An older man had been hiking alone on a well-established trail, but his wife called to say that he hadn't come home when he should have. Apparently, he had a history of seizures, and she was worried that he hadn't taken his medication and had suffered one of those out on the trail. And before you ask, I have no idea why he thought that it was okay to go out alone, or why she didn't go out with him. I don't ask about these kinds of things because past a certain point, it really doesn't matter. Someone is missing, and that's my job to find them. We went out in a standard search formation, and it wasn't long before one of our vets found signs that the guy had gone off the trail. We grouped up and followed him, spreading out in a fan to make sure that we covered as much ground as possible. Suddenly a call comes over the radio telling us all to head back towards the vet's location. We come right away because this usually means the missing person is injured. We need a full team to help him find his way out to safety. We meet back up. And the vet's just standing at the base of a tree with his hands on the sides of his head. And I ask my buddy what's going on. He points up into the branches of the tree. I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing. But there's a walking stick dangling from a branch at least 30 feet off the ground. A little strap thing on the handle has been looped around the branch. It's just hanging there. Now, there's no way the guy could have tossed it up that far. We don't see any other signs that he's still in the area. We call up into the tree, but it's obvious no one's in it. We're all just sort of left scratching our heads. We keep searching for the guy, but we never find him. We even bring our canines out, but they lose his scent long before this tree. Eventually, the search is called off.
Poor Granny.
There are other calls we have to attend to. And past a certain point, there's not much we can do. The guy's wife called us every day for months, asking if we'd found her husband. It was heartbreaking to hear her get more and more hopeless each time. I'm not sure why this call in particular was so upsetting, but I think that it was just the sheer improbability of it, that the questions that were raised. How the hell did this guy's cane end up there? Did someone kill him and toss that up there? Is it some kind of weird trophy?
Maybe
we did our best to find him, but it was almost like a taunt. We still talk about that one from time to time.
Okay, that's an interesting story. Oh. Yeah. Very, very interesting. I hope there's more stories of that I hopefully think that Cirky would do. Pretty interesting. That is very interesting. It's scary, obviously, but yeah, and disturbing as well. I don't know if the bear man did it, or the guy with the no face. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to do a short, quick video because I haven't really done anything, and I keep on trying to do gameplays, but it keeps on lagging and stuttering. I just don't know why. I just need a new PC. But yeah, I'm glad to be back and doing these videos again, and I'm so glad that you guys are watching this, and yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and that'll be all. Bye bye.